Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is 11 a.m. It's the 16th of November. It is a Thursday, and we have, as always, a packed show. We've had a bit of an interesting evening. We've come straight back up, 37,000 market cap. Everything is going well. Again, as I say on this channel quite a lot, when we're having a good day, enjoy it. See the sunshine, walk in the grass, take some profits, and enjoy the fact that we are up almost a third in the last 30 days. So we've got a busy show. We're going to go through the markets. We're going to take a look at the halving, Link, and what Sergey's had to say, what Cathie Wood's been saying about Sol, Paxos's new stablecoin, New York, and how they're going to try and implement some new laws. And then we're going to look at Pancake Swap Gaming, which personally I'd never heard of until today. And then we're going to finish with the quiz. The entire show is going to be finished within 1 hour, I hope, today. Anyway, so without further ado, the first thing we should probably do is go and have a look at the markets. I did say yesterday I wanted to see Bitcoin back above 36,600. That was my level of the trend line that we've been looking at for the last week or so. We didn't just break 36,000, we broke 37,000. We came all the way up to 37.9, I think, last night. And I was pretty much convinced we were going to break 38,000 last night, but we didn't. It held, that resistance held. We are going to look at the charts in a minute, so hang on to that. Market cap is back over 1.4 trillion, 1.43 trillion. We are up a whopping 3.7%. The volume is also up. Look at that volume, just under $100 billion in volume. Bitcoin dominance is back above 51%, always nice to see. And Ethereum is just being Ethereum, 17.2%. So happy with the Bitcoin move in the last 24 hours, happy with Ethereum. If you go down a little bit further, the standout for me has got to be Solana. We are going to cover Solana in a little bit. And there's a couple of theories about Solana. We're going to go through a couple of them on why are we seeing such a price spike in Solana? Is it to do with FTX? Is it the venture capitalists trying to get the money back? Is it the exchanges? What's going on? We're going to have a look at that. In the last 24 hours, where are we? Casper is up a third. Render is up almost 30%. Aave, big news about Aave. I haven't covered it today on the stream, but big news about Aave. They've just signed a partnership deal. All looks good for Aave. Full disclosure, I do have a small bag of staked AVAX because I just like the protocol. Who else is up? Ordinals, Synthetics, Phantom. Not a huge fan of Phantom, if I'm perfectly honest. And Rune, we're a big fan of Rune on this channel, so a lot of gainers. I expect to see some stable coins in the bottom down here. Polygon is down a touch. Lido, Monero, nothing's really lost. Gold, Pax G Gold. I mean, nothing's really down in the last 24 hours. It's always a good sign that we've had a proper green day. Now we're going to move on with the news, and we're going to take a look first of all at some news about the halving and some commentary on not everybody's going to see the end of the halving. Not everyone's going to see the end of the next bull run. Some companies are going to suffer. So as we all know, I think as of today, we're 155 days away from the halving. That's 5 months. We're 5 months away from the halving. It only happens every 4 years. And when it happens, Bitcoin goes and everything else follows. So 155 days to go. Forget December the 25th and Christmas. The halving is going to be my Christmas next year. So don't be surprised if some companies fail as they rush products to market. Where was I up to? Okay, Bitcoin halving events, as we know, they reduce the mining rewards by half. We don't need to cover that. But these changes often lead to increased market activity and heightened investor interest. However, basing an entire business strategy on the outcomes of the halving can be a double-edged sword. focus solely on short-term gains could lead to missed opportunities or errors. Arve's laid off staff. Everybody's laid off staff. I'm not too concerned about people laying off staff. It really isn't that much of an issue. For me, it happens. Companies expand and they retract. Crypto companies are increasingly channeling their efforts into product development and halting marketing efforts. The goal is to diversify offerings and cater to an evolving customer base, which is expected to expand post-halving. This strategy is not only about capitalizing on the immediate upsurge in halving-related interest, but also about building a foundation that could withstand market fluctuations. In the last bear market, what did we see? We saw an awful lot of companies laying off staff. We then saw some of the more conservative companies starting to employ people, started to take on staff. Some of the exchanges that we follow were employing upwards of 1,000 people. Other exchanges were focusing on building out their products, implementing AI. So there's a lot going on in the bear market because that's really all you can do. You can expand your business, you can build out your product offerings, because nothing's going to happen in the bear market. Retail's gone. We don't have institutional investment in the last bear market. We are struggling. Good morning to everybody. I've forgotten to mention some names. Good morning to Web3, Hidden Agendas, Kishan, Katrin. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for watching today. It is greatly appreciated. Who else do we have? Abdo, welcome to the stream. User 99, I am the best. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Remember, if you are new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, smash the like button, whatever you can do. So this is the chart that I've been seeing doing the rounds on Twitter, or X should I call it now. And this is what's happened in the previous. Let me open this so we can actually get a good look at it. This is what's happened in the previous 3 bull runs, 2012, 16 and 20. Look at that parabolic run. Now, obviously, in each of those runs, the actual percentage gain has come down somewhat. It's not the same game every bull run. We're not going to do a 2,000% or a 4,000% run on Bitcoin. So just kind of temper your expectations. But this is where we are. We are at the base of this mountain, and at some point in the next 2 years and 3 months, we're going to see Bitcoin follow the same pattern. It could happen with ETF approvals. It could start to happen next week, but it will certainly start to happen from January, February and March of next year. That's when we're going to see the real push on Bitcoin, and everything's going to happen next year. So we might have had the worst bear market in record, but potentially we're going to have the best bull market in record as well, because everything that I see is heading towards a massive run up. There is talk as well about this being the last major bull run, and I think there is some credibility in that. The fact that once institutional investors start to buy in, and once we do see Bitcoin hit 5 trillion, 6 trillion market cap on its own, then it's going to be very difficult for us to have God candles of 15 and 20% when we get to those prices. So this could very well be the last major halving, because each halving has less and less of an effect on the price of Bitcoin and the scarcity. You know, going from 12 to 6 is a big leap. Going from 6 to 3 is a big leap. But going from 1.5 to 0.75 isn't much of a change. So I do expect this to potentially be the last major bull cycle that we ever have. We're still going to have the bull cycle, but I just don't think that we're going to have the same blow off top in 2029 and 2033. So we're not going to spend too long again on the charts. As I'm trying to keep things fairly quick today. But one thing I did want to point out is that Bitcoin is really doing its best to get towards 40,000. And like I said, last night when we broke back up, we broke above 37,000. I was expecting us to go an awful lot higher than we did. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to update the menu when it loads. There we go. Okay. So this is where we are. I've removed the channel. I had a channel for the last... I think we've been in the channel since, yeah, just the third week of October. Just to recap, we were in this channel. And we're in the channel for a long time. And when we had the correction because of the, you know, the CPI data came out, everything was good. We came back into this channel and I expected us to stay here. I said this yesterday. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. This is the pattern I expected. What happened last night was we broke back out of my channel, and therefore I don't see much point in continuing with it because it's been broken a few times and we're now back up. But what I do see us doing, I do see us having a run at this fib level here, which is 39,600. That's where I see the next leg for Bitcoin. And then we could hit the 40,000 mark. That's where I think we're going to go. We could do this. And we are only, we're not even 10% away. I think we're about, what, 5%, 6 or 7% away from that 40,000 level. So I can't be bearish at this moment in time because I've looked at the bearish divergence. I've been looking at it now for 2 weeks. It's not happening. We're not moving. All that's happening is we're moving up, and that's what tends to happen in a... I don't want to say we're in the bull market because we are early, but in a bull market, all bearish divergences, they kind of play out on a very, very short-term time frame. They don't play out over days and weeks. They play out over hours. You might have a 4-hour or 12-hour retracement, but you don't tend to have a multi-day retracement. So from my point of view, I'm looking at 40,000, and you know, I've got this line drawn here, and as you can see, we are bouncing off this quite nicely. I mean, we could do this, I suppose, to take us towards the end of the year and be at 40,000 by the end of the year. That is a possibility, but I still think 40,000, it's going to happen. I've made the charts for a few weeks. 40,000's on the cards. Again, I'm not going to spend too long on the charts because I don't have a great deal of time today. I need to try and get the stream finished by 12 o'clock. So we're going to skip through and we're going to talk about Sergey from Link, and we're going to look at what he has to say. Then we're going to look at the Link chart because that is very interesting. And I'm a big fan of Link. Sergey Nazarov predicts financial reckoning that could lead to rapid crypto adoption. As we say on this channel, two things we want: adoption and regulation. Both come hand in hand. We need countries to regulate crypto, and then we need the populations to adopt it through products, through whatever means necessary. Everything is making noises today. So Chainlink creator Sergey Nazarov says that a financial cataclysm could trigger a rush into digital assets and blockchain ecosystems. In a new interview with Ash Bennington on Real Vision, Real Vision is the one that is owned by Raoul Pal, isn't it? I think Raoul Pal owns Real Vision. Nazarov outlines what he calls a global correction back to reality, where blockchain tech is integrated with the financial system and other industries to bring about a more trustworthy, verifiable economy. I think we are moving towards some class of economic crisis in various economies because of really, really weird, but perhaps necessary, I can't tell, economic decisions by various large actors. I think there will be a reckoning for all of that value and all of that. And I do believe that blockchain tech will be gradually adopted for its massive benefits. Wholeheartedly agree. And it will do well in a market where everyone wants to interact with more assets. But I also believe that if there is an economic crisis, blockchains will be the solution to creating a more transparent, more reliable world that doesn't depend on brands. My argument to this is, what, on a global scale, do governments really want a transparent financial system? That's the question, really. And I'm not going to go into any conspiracy theories about this, but if you have financial institutions and countries running their money over a blockchain, and it's a public blockchain, and you can see what they're doing with their money, is that something that governments really want? Maybe, maybe not. So I kind of agree. Bitcoin is going to be the greatest asset that has ever existed in the history of mankind. But that's because he owns 120,000 tokens of them, Bitcoins. So just bear that in mind. That's one of the things that I think needs to be taken into account. Now, we're going to take a look at the Link chart because, as I say, full disclosure, I hold Link. I have a $50,000 portfolio that I'm trying to turn into $1 million over the course of the next 2 bull runs. So that $15,000 portfolio holds quite a big bag of Link. And from what I remember, I think I bought it at around about, let's see what price I would have got it at. I think I got it at about $6.50 maybe at the start of the year. So that's done reasonably well. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is that we like crypto that honors TA and honors the charts. And what we've seen with Link is we've been trapped in this range, which I talked about previously, from June 2022 all the way through to October. So it held that range for well over a year, and look what happened. We broke out, but we didn't go parabolic. We didn't shoot up to $30, $40, $50. We came up to this fib level at $16.70, and we've retraced slightly. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to come straight back down. That means there is a possibility that we're going to have a breather around this level, and if Bitcoin goes again, the next level up for me, for Link, would be somewhere in the region of $21.40, $21. That's another 33% from where we are now. And that's because Link likes to play by the rules. The same with Ethereum. Ethereum is a textbook crypto for playing by the rules. It's exactly what it does. So expect a small cooling off. Remember the RSI. The RSI down here is cooling off on the daily chart. So we're down, we're cooling off, we're giving the bears a little bit of a breather. But if Bitcoin goes to $40,000, Link is going to go to $21. I do not have any doubt in my mind whatsoever that that's going to happen. Now, Link is also a little bit like XRP. It can move outside of Bitcoin. All coins can, but Link in particular, XRP in particular, because they're tied into the financial system. What that means is that if there is an announcement from Barclays or HSBC or Goldman Sachs that says that they're going to start using XRP and Link in a blockchain payment solution, this is going to hit $21. The issue I've got with Link is I don't know how high it's going to go in the bull run. That's my issue. It's already further on than I expected it to be. I expected Link to be somewhere around this level here. I expected it to struggle to get to $10 to $12. We've gone up to $16.50. Any more good news and it's pushing towards $21. And bear in mind, at that price, we only got as high as $48. So if we suddenly get to December and Link is at $24, $21, $24, that's half of its previous all-time high. Now, for an altcoin, that's unusual. For Bitcoin, it's not. I expect Bitcoin to be easily over $33,000 by the end of the year. But for altcoins are still miles away. You look at Cardano. Cardano's at 37, 38 cents. Its all-time high was $3. So it's still down 85%. If Link is at $21 by December, before the halving, and we're going to have a 2-year bull cycle, what price is Link going to get to? Is it going to get to $100, $200, $300? We'd have to look at the market cap, obviously. But what I'm saying is that some coins have broken out of the traditional prices that they should be at this point for alts. So Link is something you need to take a look at. Now, as I said, we've respected this line here at $16.70. We could, if we don't get anything from Bitcoin, we could come down to $11.23. $11.23 would, for me, would be a good price to accumulate at. If you're going to buy in big, that would be the price for me. And then I would expect a move up to the next fib level, which is at this $21 range. $20 could be a psychological barrier, which is kind of down here, but I do think we'll get to about $20, $21, hopefully by the end of the year, if not by the end of November, depending on what Bitcoin does. So keep an eye on Link. Very, very bullish on Link. And as I keep saying, we used to cover a lot of altcoins on the channel. We used to look at more sort of $100, $200, $300 million coins. The reason that we've made a switch to focus on the main coins is because they are the ones that I personally think you should be looking at. You should be looking at the top 10 cryptos right now. You should be looking at ADA, XRP, Solana. You should be looking at Link. They are the coins at this moment in time that are popping off. Now, you could go and invest in $100 million coins. We looked at Celestia. I said Celestia you should take a profit on. And if you look at the charts, and you look at the last 24 hours, for example, I think Celestia has come down a little bit since we spoke about it. My advice for you would be to take some profits on Celestia. I think it's gone up. It's a new coin. We don't know what the price action is going to be, but it's already at a $700 million market cap. So for me, I'd be taking some profits. And I would be looking at ADA, as I said, XRP. The one coin I wouldn't be looking at too much is BNB, simply because BNB doesn't really move. It's more of a stable coin than anything else. It's taken over the mantle from ADA. ADA's been moving up. We're just a touch under 40 cents, and that was my target for ADA, looking at this chart here. BNB I was buying BNB at $200 not long ago. It's now $252. I can see BNB easily going to a 4-figure sum in the next bull run. But again, I wouldn't be looking at BNB in the next 3 months and thinking I'm going to be making a 2x on BNB. I don't see BNB going to $500 by January or February, but I could see XRP, for example, going to $1, $1.20. I could see ADA going to 50, 60, 70 cents. I just can't see BNB moving. It's a very big market cap coin, and that's why you kind of have to pick and choose. So BNB has got a $38 billion market cap, but the price action on BNB is very, very steady. If you look, you know, we started the year at $272. We're at $252. We haven't really moved. We did have a spike up to $340, but it doesn't move enough to warrant recommending it as a short-term buy. Now, Solana, on the other hand, Solana jumps 20% as Cathie Wood lauds its speed and cost over Ethereum, and it's dramatically outperformed everything. It's outperformed Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's outperformed, of course, ADA and everybody else. Cathie Wood likes it, which is always a nice glowing recommendation. She said that it's been doing a really good job in recent market conditions. I am on the Solana blockchain. I'm in a few projects over there. It is super quick. It's super clean. The UI is great. I'm just getting a bit worried about the price at the minute. I do think it's going to hit $100, but I'm just wondering where we go then. Where do we go from $100? Because like I was saying a second ago about Link being at half its market cap, half its previous all-time high by December, what happens if Solana's at $120 in December? That's also half of its market cap in the previous cycle. It's shot ahead of everything else, and when that happens, you tend to worry about it overextending and potentially having quite a dramatic collapse, if you know what I mean. Maybe it'll go from 100 back to 50. Well, that's a 50% drop. That's what's worrying me now. It's doing so well that sometimes things can be too good to be true. Ether was fast and cheaper than Bitcoin in the day. That's how we got Ether. Solana is even faster and cost effective. She spoke of Ethereum and Solana as important additions to the blockchain ecosystem, describing them as crucial infrastructure layers capable of more real-world applications than Bitcoin. Well, of course, Bitcoin isn't meant to have real-world applications. Bitcoin is meant to be a store of value. That's what it's meant to be. Just give me a second. I need to... I just need to put my my phones on silent because they're making a right ruckus. Right, I am going to drop a box. Give me a second. I am trying to get through the stream in as orderly fashion as possible today because I have to go pretty much at midday. Okay, so for those of you out there, we have dropped another box. Come on. So you should be able to claim that any second now, and then we'll carry on with what Kathy Wood has had to say. While the crypto market is on an uptrend, Solana's gains have been significantly higher. It's up 200% in the last month, and it's currently changing at $66. She also addressed the current market anticipation for a slew of ETFs, saying it's important to remain focused on the underlying significance of Bitcoin and not get caught up on the short-term price action. I don't agree. I don't agree with this because ETFs are not going to affect the short-term price action. ETFs are fundamentally going to change the way that Bitcoin is valued, and that's the objective. If you go and have a look, and I'm not going to do it now, I don't have enough time. If you go and have a look at what happened to the price of gold in the subsequent years to being given a gold ETF, look at the price action on gold from that point onwards. Bitcoin is never going to be the same again. Once we get these ETFs, that is it. Potentially we're going to have a super cycle. The price is going to rocket up. We're never going to have the same bull and bear market that we've just had ever again, in my opinion. So it's not to do with short-term price action. And I also don't agree that there is a sell the news situation on this. What tends to happen with the halving is the price runs up to the halving, and then there is a small correction after the halving. That is a sell the news event. The halving is the sell the news event. The Bitcoin ETF isn't. No matter how we look at this, there is going to be tens of billions of dollars coming into Bitcoin in the first 3 or 4 months of next year. That's going to suck up all the supply. Or not all the supply, but a huge chunk of the supply. Then we're going to get the halving. The halving halves the amount of Bitcoin being sold on exchanges from April, May onwards. Then it's gone. Then it's going to take a period of time, potentially a year or two, for BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard to roll out these Bitcoin products to their clients in the 401s, the ISAs, everything else. We're not suddenly going to see a $1 trillion Bitcoin ETF market in January. It doesn't happen like that. It's going to take a lot of time. But the problem is that if we've only got half the amount of Bitcoin being added to the exchanges, and we have a multiple effect on the demand for Bitcoin, what's going to happen? Look at what happened during the last pandemic when we had various products which we had more than an ample supply of until the point where everybody started to panic buy them. Toilet roll was a perfect example. Eggs. They panic bought those items and the price 10x'd in the space of 6 months. And there was no supply. Supermarkets were empty. Flour was another one. What's going to happen when we introduce ETFs and we halve the supply of Bitcoin, and then the news gets out that we don't have enough Bitcoin? That's going to compound the problem. Now, it's not a problem if you hold Bitcoin today. If you hold Bitcoin today and you've spent a year and a half building your bags of crypto, then you just sit on your hands. Don't sell, sit on your hands. If you need to get into Bitcoin, you probably have another 3 or 4 months to get into Bitcoin. And then more than likely, we are never going to see the $30,000 range ever again for Bitcoin. More than likely. If Bitcoin ETFs get rejected and they get pushed out to another June, September deadline next year, if that's even possible, and we have a recession and we have all of the, if all of these ducks don't line up, then yeah, we could come back down to 28,000. But if we do get the approval, we'll be over 40,000 towards 50,000 before you can blink your eyes. Then you're going to see God candles, and that's when we're on our way. So, Kathy Wood is correct. Solana, and I've been a big fan of Solana for the last 2, 3, 4 years. 3 years maybe, sorry. Big fan. I'm not a fan of their connection with FTX. I'm a fan of how it works. It's super quick. The UI is excellent. You can use Orca, Jupiter. You can go and look at Star Atlas as an example of a AAA game. You can go and look at the NFT marketplace on Magic Eden. It's a big ecosystem. And remember, ecosystems are based on the number of people that use those products. It doesn't matter what you hear from crypto influencers who've panned Solana. Ben Armstrong spent 2 years crucifying Solana, and now he calls himself the Sultana of Solana, okay? So I'm never going to sit here and pan a project. I will pan a project if it's a pump and dump, the team aren't doxed, and it's a scam. I will. But I'm not going to go out and go after Aptos or Optimism or Arbitrum or whatever, because that's not what this is about. We're supposed to be educating people. Solana is a damn good layer one. And that's, no matter what anybody says about Sam and Anatoly's friendship, that doesn't matter. It's about the product. I'm not a big fan of the phone. I don't think the phone is ever going to really take off. But, hey, it's worth a try. Now, if you look at what's happened with Solana, as I've said, for about the last 2 or 3 weeks, look what happened a year to a year. Let's call that the 7th of November. We come over here and we go to the 2nd of November. So it's 360 days after the FTX collapse and Solana breaks out. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Is this price action a coincidence? I don't think so. I think this is potentially, this is VCs getting involved. Remember that FTX are selling their Solana. So if the supply of if the supply of Solana is going up, that would surely suppress the price. It hasn't. So who's buying all of this Solana? It certainly isn't retail because they're not here yet. Are VCs buying cheap Solana because they know it's going to go to $200, $300? That's what I think could happen. I think that the people in money and the people with money, if you ask them to name 3 or 4 cryptos that they will buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, potentially XRP, and Solana. They're the 4 coins that they're going to buy. So, is this dump by FTX and this price action, is this the VCs pumping up the price of Solana so FTX can get its money back? or are they buying it because they're expecting a $200 or $300 Solana? Because this doesn't make any sense. Supply has gone up, demand has outstripped supply. It doesn't make any sense. Where were the VCs? Where were the VCs here? Why didn't the VCs buy at $20? That's what I can't understand. Anyway, I have drawn some lines on this chart, and these are some targets that I think we need to break. What's that? $78, $79 is the first one. That ties into the previous level of support over here. And then I think the big one, $100. I think if we can break $78, $79, we are looking at $100. That's if this demand and this trajectory carries on. But again, I'm looking at things like the RSI. RSI isn't looking too bad. Macro climate isn't looking too bad. You've got massively bullish news coming out about Solana from people like Cathie Wood. So the markets, the macro, the news, everything is looking up. And as I said, my target only a week or so ago was $50 for Solana. My target before that was $40 for Solana. We've smashed them both. $65. We're only 50% away from that $100 mark, and we're only 20% away from $73, $74, $75, whatever I just said. $78, sorry. So look at Solana. If you're in Solana and you've been in it from $20 or $30, take some profits. Always a good thing to do. Take some profits. If you're not in Solana, then the pullback range for me is about $40 to $45 is the pullback range for me. If we do get a pullback, and that would be quite a considerable pullback. If you look at the fib level that we are above, that sits at 60, well, we're pretty much on it, $63. So there isn't really a lot there, but I think if you look at this gap, you've got $57 here, and then you've got $42 here. They would be my pullback ranges. So what could happen? We could get rejected here, fall back down to here, and then move on up. But I wouldn't recommend buying Solana at this price. I wouldn't recommend shorting it. I wouldn't recommend longing it. I would recommend waiting to see. If you hold Solana, great. If there's a pullback, that's your chance to buy it. If it keeps pumping, take more profits. So take profits at these two levels. Take profits at 78 and take profits at 100. Of course, this is only my opinion, not financial advice. This is what I'm going to be doing. And I can tell you right now, when we hit $100 on Solana, depending on what the market's doing, I would look to get out of my Solana position at $100 if it overheats. Because this is not sustainable. I mean, that movement is not sustainable. It has to come down, it has to correct, it has to find a level of support. So, I mean, where could it go? $100, $132. What's this price here? $160. Are we really going to see $160, $130 this soon before the halving? I don't think so. So bear that in mind with Solana. Now we're going to move on. We've got 6 minutes. So I think we're going to skip the New York law. We're going to do Paxos, and then we're going to do Pancake. And then we're going to do a quick quiz, and then we're going to head out. Remember, if you're watching, wherever you're watching, drop a comment, say hello. I think I've got most of the chat windows open, so I can keep an eye on what you guys are saying. Just give me 1 second to update everything. I need to restart one of my rooms, and then we're going to get going with this. So Paxos, I believe Paxos were the company behind BUSD, who were then forced to close BUSD. And when they were forced to close BUSD, they They then created PYUSD, which is the PayPal coin, I believe. Right, I'm back in the room. There we go. Okay, so Paxos is to issue another US dollar-backed stablecoin in Singapore. Paxos has created a Singaporean entity for launching a new USD-backed stablecoin in the country. What's it going to call itself? The new entity will issue a US dollar-backed... We know about that. Okay, what's it going to be called? It will comply with Singapore's recently finalised stablecoin framework before the legislative amendments take effect. Okay, we don't need to read. Paxos is one of only 2 companies alongside StraitsX to get this approval from Maz, a Pax spokesperson said. We will issue a new stablecoin with all new branding. That's because it's done from Singapore. Paxos does not yet have a name. Okay, so we don't know. Now, again, we need stablecoins. We need to have on and off ramps between fiat and crypto, and we need stable coins to take money off the table. So when Bitcoin does hit, let's say Bitcoin hits $200,000, and I come on here and I am screaming at you, sell, sell, sell. You're not going to get a good, you're not going to get a price any higher than this. Sell. You won't suddenly sell that $200,000 Bitcoin. You won't suddenly send it straight to your bank. It has to go via a stable coin in most instances, or you might not want to take it out to your fiat bank account. You might want to keep it. Well, you would keep it in stables. You would keep it in USDC or USDT. So that's why we need stable coins, but we need more than 2. We need PYUSD. Much as nobody likes PayPal, we need it. Much as we probably don't want to see 50 or 60 stable coins, I think we do need to see 5 or 10 big stable coins, because if USDT, DT or USDC does have a problem, runs into problems, whatever that might be, you can't be left with one stable coin, because that creates a bottleneck. It creates incredible demand. It just makes an absolute mess of everything. So just bear that in mind when we look at these stable coins. We can have too many stable coins, but we do need to have more than what we've got. So we've got USDT, got USDC, we've got PYUSD, and we're going to have this next one now. So Paxos is backed by high-profile investors, including Bank of America, Peter Thiel's Founders Fund, and Coinbase Ventures. The firm's raised $540 million in total funding to date and was valued at $2.4 billion during the last Series D funding. Now, remember, also we've mentioned on here many times, people might wonder, how does USDC, how do USDT, how do they make any money? Bearing in mind, this has got $87 billion. This one down here has $24 billion. So combined, it's $110 billion of stable coins. How do they make their money? Well, they buy government bonds in America mainly as one of the options. That will pay them 4 or 5% interest. 4 or 5% interest on 100 billion is $4 billion a year. They are not going to be short of a few pounds. And don't forget, I think it was USDT that said it would be buying Bitcoin every quarter with its profits. So they're not short of money, these huge stable coins, and that's how they work. Now we're going to skip over the New York law changes because that's not super important at all. Give me a second. Update the menu, and then we've got a minute or two before we get on to the quiz. There we go. So PancakeSwap launches crypto gaming hub, and you can earn cake. Multi-chain decentralized exchange PancakeSwap is pushing into games, starting with a couple built around the cake token and NFTs. This sounds really, really cool. The PancakeSwap gaming marketplace went live on Tuesday and initially features 2 games themed around the exchange and its whimsical branding. Let me open that in a new window. But the company aims to encourage other developers to create games for the ecosystem. He looks so familiar. He looks like Michael Wagner. That is Michael Wagner. Is it not? There's the Solana logo. What's going on there? Let's go to that. The company said in an announcement that the marketplace will allow gamers, developers, and the PancakeSwap community to play, build, and connect. It comes after the launch of its first GameFi title, Pancake Protectors, developed with Mobox. Pancake Protectors is a tower defense game. We've seen all these things before. The marketplace will give game developers access to the DEX's sizable user base, claiming there are 1.5 million potential monthly players. What this reminds me of is many, many years ago, before many of you were born, you could get a game on a tape. I know that sounds really, really archaic, but what you would do is you would want to play, I don't know, a football game, and as the game was loading, it would bring up a mini game, and you would play the mini game while your main game was loading. And the reason being is that it keeps the website and the game sticky. So having a sticky game means that people are more likely to stay on PancakeSwap. It adds utility to the tokens. You have to buy potentially have to buy the token to play the games. You win the tokens as rewards. So it's building out the ecosystem. That's what they're doing this for. And, you know, fair play to them. I think it's an absolutely great idea. We don't need to go into too much about this, other than to say I'm a big fan of this. I think it's going to do really well. I might go and check it out later. And this is brilliant. So this PancakeSwap Games website is potentially unsafe. There we go. So it looks like this PancakeSwap gaming marketplace. It's got the games on here. I'm going to go and check this out after the stream. But now, most importantly, we need to get on with the quiz, because I have got to go pretty much dead on 12 o'clock. So let me bring up the Bitcoin chart and we will get going with the quiz. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for those of you that are watching on another platform, it is time for us to leave and say goodbye. So I'm going to put the holding screen on for 5 seconds while I close the account. We are back tomorrow. I think it's at 12:30. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to leave a comment below. I'm going to turn you guys off now, and then we're going to continue with the quiz. For those on exchanges, give me 10 seconds.